Colt asked for me to stay while he spoke with the others, and it was so cold I decided to just sleep till he came back. But I awoke. Colt hadn't come back. The cold winter awaited me. As I uncomfortably lifted the fur from me, getting ready for the day, it had snowed the first snow of winter. As I was washing my face from a bowl of painfully cold water that woke my senses, I began to hear outside the tent. I could tell it was two women, though I didn't know the voices directly. I could tell their words were mumbles of excitement and nervousness. Even if I could make out the words, the tone was easy enough to pick up on. As I finished drying my face, I left the tent, turning to my right quickly, my breath leaving me like a cloud of smoke. I looked to see who it was, and just like my suspicions, I didn't know the two Deer Tribe women. They stopped their talking as soon as they saw me. What is this talking about? They looked to each other nervously. It is not our place to speak of. You had no problem a moment ago. Now what's it about? The other one, that looked slightly older, shook her head. We may not speak of it, but there are many loose lips in camp. I'm sure you may find one if you must know. I was irritated and cold, crossing my arms. I decided to do just that, and I knew exactly who to go to. I looked about camp, and then it wasn't long before I found who I was looking for. He was sitting by the camp's fire on a log that had been pulled close. With all the new snow crunching under my feet, he looked my direction immediately, standing to his own, walking my way. Alpha took off his black fur cloak, placing it over me. I followed him back to the seat. As I sat, he poured a warm drink from a pot into a metal cup, handing it to me, still steaming as I warmed my hands on the sides of the cup. It was not like him act with such thoughtfulness, which I found strange. I assume you know what's going on around camp, so one of your mares hasn't let you in on the silver talk then. Silver? Alpha sneered. Wolf language meaning something of great interest, true or false. I see. Well, nevertheless, I thought I'd ask you what's going on. It's always best to come to the source, I suppose. Source? Did you do something then? Yes, you could say that in the matter of words. Well, what did you do? Alpha huffed. I performed a ceremony. I rolled my eyes. That's nothing new for a leader. What type of ceremony? Alpha looked down. A marriage ceremony, he said under his breath while taking a drink from his own cup, letting out a sigh. But I couldn't understand. Ceremonies, especially marriage, was quiet, normal, especially before a battle, ever since Harlt's was shut down, at least. I looked to him. I'm still not understanding. Who did you marry? Why is it such a big deal? That Abira and Firefly, a month ago, roughly as ordered. You know, I had my eye on her, but you know how she is. Wait, what? Does Colt know? Alpha smirked slightly. Everyone knows how she is. Oh, you mean otherwise? I should say so. He's what's all the clamoring is about. The pup should have waited till after sunrise. He found them in the worst circumstances, or should I say, the best of circumstances for them. He stormed off after on a spare horse. He ran off through the trees out toward the grazing area. I would love to see him with his anger on Abira, but the pup never holds his temper long. I'm sure I'll get an earful eventually myself. Nothing to the degree of Abira, though, which I shall enjoy hearing of. He smiled, looking to me as I stood handing him his cloak and cup, and he seemed puzzled by this. You going after him, then? No, I'm going to Firefly. As I walked off, he snickered out as I didn't look back, only pausing slightly to hear his words. You best knock first. I could almost feel his grin. I picked up my pace and went to her tent directly, making sure to knock first before entering. Firefly was busy with her work. Her tent was bigger than most, full of vials and beakers containing liquids, thick and thin. So you've heard, then? Firefly didn't look up from her work, dripping a yellow liquid into a clear substance, then again dripping that liquid carefully onto a piece of white paper before even looking up to me. Who hasn't heard? I smiled. She looked to me slightly. I thought you would be with Colt. Normally I would be, but I wanted to check on you first. Where is Abira? He went after Colt a while ago. She seemed nervous at the thought. I'm sure it will be all right. Then Colt isn't one to start trouble. I just wish we would have known we could have made it a proper ceremony. Firefly smiled. At our age, we understand it is not the garment or the fine wines that make the ceremony, but the two coming together. He has been married once before and know my enemy, but I have only known him as far as my memory knows, and anyone before then is likely dead of old age, and we wish to do it the right way. I thought you were planning on waiting to get your memories back. The one thing Colt and Abira have much in common with each other is their words to convincing others of a better way, and I am like all others, and gave in to it as well. But we could see Colt was not happy with any affection we showed to one another, testing in small ways, and we didn't want his anger on us till he was more adjusted to it, so we kept up the saraude. I see, I can't lie, I saw it too, but he had some right to know, don't you think? If I could change it, I would. But no, Vita, not really. He lives his life and us ours. Could you hold this vial, please? It's not dangerous, but keep it moving slightly like so, moving my hand back and forth with hers. Is this your blood? Yes. Now let's see about this vial here. Taking a beaker of blue, placing in a few drops of pink, then green, it began to swirl a deep blue. Interesting. I had to make a more natural-based synthetic of the original, so I'm not sure it will have the same strength or effect. With that, she took the vial from my hand, allowing it to flow into the blue in a stone bowl. As the two mixed, the red separated silver to one side, then red to the other. After a moment or two, she put a sample of the red under a glass that she could see closer up. Neon green glowing specks began to float to the top of the blood. Well, it appears to be as Henry spoke now for the next test. She turned around, grabbing the paper that was once white and now it was pink. She seemed shocked. "Oh my," she said with wonder, "what is that test?" "Well, it appears I shall not be able to test this upon myself just yet. It shall be some time, but many are ready to try it for themselves in my tribe." "How much time?" Looking up a moment in thought, she looked to me in my eyes. "I'd say about 8 months or so." "Why so long? Wait. What?"